Today we're going over the 2025 Fallen Heroes banner in Fire Emblem Heroes. We got Fallen Lena, both Alears, and Rearmed Fallen Dedue. Dedue will be a limited unit, but the others are permanent 5-star pull additions. We'll talk about everyone's stats and skills, plus go over some build ideas. Fallen Lena will be an infantry healer with a familiar gimmick. Funny how Medius just got a new, non-evil ult. Now, Lena got 45 HP, 40 attack, 27 speed, 19 defense, and 49 res. Lena has a res super boom, very high HP, attack, and res stats. For old skills, Lena's got a trove of good stuff. She has magic shield for buffing and an extra action, plus holy pressure to apply gravity. Lena then comes with resonance and pulse of ploy. Typical maid skills, but healers can indeed run them too. Crazy good skill fodder. Lena's weapon is the Martyr Staff. At start of either phase, if within 2 spaces of an ally, grant plus 6 attack and res, bonus doubler, and the debuff neutralization status to Lena and those allies. If allies fight within 3 spaces of Lena, she also gives them plus 5 attack and res in combat, and the Miracle effect. After the fight, if Miracle procced, Lena will full heal the ally. This is a 1-time per map miracle. For herself, Lena has Wrathful Staff with Sling. If initiating or near an ally, Lena inflicts attack and res debuffing equal to 6 plus 20% of her flat res stat. She makes a free follow-up and deals true damage equal to 5 times the total number of positive statuses on Lena, plus the total number of negative statuses on the foe. If there are 5 advantageous statuses, Lena gets 25 true damage. Basically, Fallen Lena is Fallen Maria 2.0. The Miracle Support Aura now has a 3-space range, and Lena provides a ton of attack and res buffs, plus full debuff neutralization. Do note, Lena does not have Miracle herself, so she's still vulnerable. She will get a lot of true damage though. For her new inheritable A skill, Lena has attack and res tidings. If within 3 spaces of an ally, grant attack and res equal to 8, plus the total number of allies within 3 spaces times 2. If there are 2 allies nearby, you get plus 12 attack and res, max. In addition, Tidings is the Dazzling Staff Healer A skill. You can get this skill from Attack and Res Form 3, so it's an easy upgrade. It provides a lot of stats, and having Wrathful plus Dazzling Staff is always a plus. Full damage, no counterattacks. Fallen Lena is a fairly straightforward offensive healer that is annoying with her Miracle Aura and Attack and Res buffing. Sadly, Magic Shield also buffs attack and resistance and gives debuff neutralization, so it's a little wasted. Lena can use it though to get the extra action from turn 2. That will be ideal since 2 turns with Pulse Up means Lena charges her Slang Holy Pressure. She can immediately proc it and have 50% DR piercing thanks to Resonance and 45 HP. For more negative healing, Lena can get around 45 true damage. She has 2 positive statuses and Ploy inflicts 2 negative statuses. If you can get 1 more status, then Martyr Staff gives 25 true damage. Resonance with 45 HP gives 10 true damage. Exposure from Ploy is another 10. Instant Holy Pressure plus 45 true damage and a follow-up is pretty good for a healer. You're gonna need to protect her, but the AoE gravity can also help slow the enemy. For other skills, you could drop Resonance for Havoc or Discord. No DR piercing, but those skills grant true damage, and Lena can add more debuffs to her kit. In the C slot, you could run Infantry Pulse for team cooldown. Lena can get Times Pulse from her Sacred Seal or Echo if you wanted the pre-charge still. For other B skills, Call to Serve is interesting, Buff Neutralization is good, and Lena can hand out some true damage to her team. Dazzling Shift can give Warping to Lena. Could be nice if you wanted to swap Tidings out for, say, Crystalline Water. Another way to get Warping is Attack of Echo. Of course, Receiving Echo is always a fun surprise too. You can Warp in, heal with Magic Shield, then attack using the extra action. Overall, Fallen Lena is a good 5-star healer. As if there weren't enough Miracle effects, here's another, and Lena does her best colorless mage impression. Our next unit is Fallen Male Alear, who's looking amazing. Dude's got the Engage Killing Edge for maximum edginess. Now this Alear will be a sword infantry with 40 HP, 46 attack, 47 speed, 35 defense, and 31 res. Alear's gonna have a speed super boot. For old skills, this Alear brings Gust and Odd Speed Wave 4. Decent combo for no follow-up, which this Alear does want to have on hand. Fell Child's Blade has a 16 might, and foes within 3 rows or 3 columns will be inflicted with -5 to all stats and have their field buffs neutralized. Alear's gonna have Slang for himself. If the foe initiates or Alear has more than 25% health, he inflicts more stat debuffing equal to 4, plus the number of distinct titles among his team within 3 spaces times 3. Alear is going to need allies from 2 different games to get the max -10 debuffs. Now for other effects, Alear's got 50% DR piercing and will heal 7 HP after combat. He will deal true damage and have flat DR equal to X. Against enemy specials, Alear will double his flat DR bonus. This X value is simply 20% of Alear's speed. Alear has a Crux range debuff for -5 stats and low. He has some standard perks like partial DR piercing, true damage, and excel type flat DR. He wants to stack a whole lot of speed. This Alear will get his unique A skill, but this time it's called Bondbreaker. At start of either phase, if above 25% health, Alear grants Fell Spirit to himself and allies within 2 spaces. Alear also inflicts -7 attack and speed and Schism onto the closest foe and foes within 2 spaces. For combat, Alear is going to get Distant Counter. If foe initiates or Alear is healthy, he gets +9 to all stats, 7 flat DR, and will have his Miracle Effect. Fell Spirit is a new status and quite powerful. It inflicts -4 debuffs to all stats with a bonus -2 if the user or enemy has an emblem ring. The unit will always counter back. Last, %DR skills triggered once per combat from specials will now trigger twice per combat. Essentially, this is a no-see disrupt and twin save status. That is concerning. Now, the non-infantry tanks can ignore sweep effects, and the non-armors get twin save minus the savior part. This only affects the offensive specials with unpierceable %DR secondary effects. This would be like Gust, Armored Beacon, Armored Blaze, etc. Now, I'll just call this the twin %DR effect. This ability is super synergistic with Schism. Schism disables Triangle Attack and Dual Strike, which are the Brave Attack statuses. If you try to cleanse Schism, it's going to take those statuses to the grave. Now, if the foe can't Brave Attack, they can only attack twice. The twin %DR effect is just going to tank both hits. The only way to get around Twin Save is quadding or having Potent. Thanks to no-see disrupt though, the tank will get to fight back, so you might not even get to that point. For Alear's new inheritable B skill, this is Speed and Defense Spiked Wall, another new variant. You get a Bulwark's Super Obstruct, -4 speed and defense, true damage equal to 50% of the higher of speed or defense. You get 7 flat damage reduction, and last, no guard to always be charging special. This is a very good Spiked Wall variant because Speed and Defense Bulwark 3 is on Cullen. Oddspeed Wave is on some Heroic Rail units, so you can actually take Alear's entire kit. Gust, Spiked Wall, and Oddspeed Wave is pretty good for a fast infantry unit. The Fallen Alears are going to be annoying, mainly by passing Fell Spirit to other tanks. Schism is quite strong as well, so you need to be wary if you've been abusing Triangle Attack or Dual Strike with Emblem Lens Ring. For Alear himself, he's a solid all-around speedy frontliner. Bulwark can keep enemies in front, and Miracle obviously keeps Alear alive. He heals after combat to loop it. Before you get to that point, Alear can trigger Gus's 40% DR twice. Do note, he's not going to have it ready on the first hit if the enemy doesn't have their special ready. This goes for the first 2 Brave hits as well. Because of this, you may want some extra cooldown from say Emblem Mart Slang or Time's Pulse. You could also just use the dual Alears and do Divinely Inspiring status that can give -2 instant cooldown to charge Gust. Now, assuming the enemy only attacks once without Fatal Smoke 4, Alear is going to survive a Miracle. He has no Fallout from Oddspeed Wave, and he's going to double with a Gust proc. You could swap no Fallout out for something like Breath of Life or Contra Control, but Alear wants no Fallout somehow. As for his B skill, you could use Speed Taker, but it's not a huge difference from Spiked Wall. I think Bulwark is good to keep here. When it comes to other skills like Brutal Tempest or Assault Rush, Alear would love the extra mobility. However, Alear needs to be within 3 spaces of 2 allies, so you could lose out on 6 point of debuffs if that matters to you. Additionally, if under 25% HP, Alear's skills aren't going to work on initiations. He is incentivized to be an enemy phase annoyance. In conclusion, another Miracle Male Alear who is quite annoying. New from Alear is Fell Spirit, giving no-see disrupt and twin % DR effects. Along with Schism, he's going to make any team tougher to initiate on if they are also using the unpierceable % DR offensive specials. Our third unit is Alear again. Female Alear is doing something a little different. She is a green armored dragon. For stats, Alear's got 41 HP, 48 attack, 18 speed, 45 defense, and 49 res. Alear is dropping speed in favor of superior stats elsewhere, and has triple super boost for HP, attack, and res. Like the other dragon Alears, this one is a trainee as well. For old skills, Alear only comes with Higher Ground. This is the far save skill for armored dragons and beasts that comes with built-in Warp Bubble. Female Alear's weapon is the Fellchild Arts. This is an 11 might sling, dual phase brave weapon. If foe initiates combat or Alear has more than 25% HP, she inflicts stat debuffs in the same manner as male Alear. Female Alear will also get the max for -15 if she triggers Savior, so you could use this Alear with allies all from the same game. The rest of this weapon should be familiar: 50% DR piercing with true damage and flat damage reduction, this time scaling off 20% resistance, double the flat DR against specials. No long range debuffs or allies, and no 7 HP healing, but otherwise very similar to the male counterpart. Female Alear brings along her unique 3 cooldown special, which is now called Fell Blast. It boosts damage by 50% resistance, and at start of either phase, Female Alear grants Fell Spirit to nearby allies. If the foe initiates, or if any special is ready in the current fight, then Alear gets 40% damage reduction on the next attack. Last, Alear gets distant counter because why not? Bond Blast no longer supports allies, it's no longer a full DI piercing special, and it now scales off resistance. Fell Spirit is also present on Female Alear, so she gives herself Nelsie Disrupt and 20% DR. Important to understand, unlike the other similar specials, Fell Blast activates its 40% DR immediately when it's the enemy phase. Alear does not need specials ready unless she is initiating. Female Alear has a new inheritable beast skill called Scowling Fighter. It is only for armored dragons and is a Special Fighter 3 upgrade. If foe initiates or the user has more than 25% health, inflict -4 attack and res, plus deal true damage and grant flat damage reduction equal to 20% resistance. Like Special Fighter, you get Breath type cooldown. Instead of the guard effect though, the dragons will get Scowl with the standard 5 or higher res check. Scowling Fighter takes after Wily and Slick Fighter with the true damage and flat DR. It does not grant a follow-up though, do be aware of that. Last, Alear also brings Deluvio Boost. Last month we got new tier 4 boost A skills, this is another variant. It grants +5 HP, and if foe initiates or the user has more than 50% health, you get +9 attack, defense, and res, and heal 7 HP after combat. Basically, Deluvio Boost will be the skill almost all armors want over the Corrin's Primordial Boost. It doesn't boost speed, but it boosts the 3 other stats they want for full tanking power. If you don't need other effects like Scowl or fortifications, then triple stat boost with healing is pretty good all around. Fallen Female Alear is a far savior with a whole lot of stats, brave hits, and some very strong perks. Like we talked about with Male Alear, Fell Spirit is crazy for the actual tanky units. This Alear is going to get Twin Far Save and Nelsie Disrupt. That is a nasty combo that she's going to pass to her team as well. Alear automatically will get her 40% unpierceable DR for the first 2 hits when saving allies, and she gets to charge up her special to counter back. Unless the foe brings defensive tempo, guard, or scowl, Alear will trigger her special. She will also get 50% DR piercing on her regular brave hits. For other perks, Alear has Warp Bubble, Scowl, and built-in distant counter, meaning you can slot in Hardy Bearing to deal with Desperation. This is a very solid kit. If you want a quad, Alear could use Wily or Slick Fighter as secret seals or just the beast skill versions. Similarly, Alear can run Near Save, nothing really stopping her from that. She can also use Briar Save for extra counterattack damage. Fell Spirit allows for twin and Briar effects. If you really want to stop specials, you could use Scowling the A slot, or just run her with Fallen Veil. Stronghold isn't bad for flat stats. The 2 Alears do not have any AoE protections. One way to solve that is having a Breath of Life 4 ally. If you're going to go with Stronghold over something like Deluvio Blast, you are going to lose like 12 attack. That is kind of a lot for a brave weapon user. Speaking of, Alear could use Bold Fighter as a seal for player face quads, that's just kind of funny. There is also Dragon Scales. I don't think it's a must use, but Alear would get a follow-up attack, 75% DR piercing, and some cooldown before getting hit. Again, it could be a fine swap if you really don't value Scowl. All in all though, Fallen Female Alear is quite scary. She could be one part of a savior team, and she'll provide Nelsie Disrupt and Twin Save to her partner. Lots of stats, lots of true damage and flat DR. At least there's no miracle on this one. The last unit for this year is Rearmed Dedue. Super cool idea, and excellent execution as well. Dedue will be a blue armored beast with 49 HP, 49 attack, 17 speed, 49 defense, and 43 resistance. It will have a defense super boon, and like Alear, just super min-maxed, although Dedue is not a trainee. For old skills, Dedue has Sturdy Beast, and that's it. It's a very solid percent tier option for beasts, since it doesn't even do a stat check if you're transformed. The first oddity of this ult is that there were only 7 other armored beasts in the game. Dedue's Arcane Crests will only be wanted by maybe 2 of them. This weapon is in line with other recent Arcanes. It has Slang, and if the foe initiates or the user has high HP, you can get bonus stats equal to 25% of the foe's attack -4. If the foe has 72 flat attack, you get the max +14 to all stats. For other effects, the user neutralizes stat debuffs, gets true damage and flat DR equal to 15% attack, and they get -1 instant cooldown before their first attack. There is one more part, which is the Armored Beast transformation bonus. These guys get distant counter, so you want to be transformed. Arcane Crest is hilarious because it could be a message from the devs saying Fallen Edelgard is not getting refined, so you're going to want this weapon. To not take up more time, I'll leave a pinned comment about what Refined Jail is. Basically, there's a big question mark about if Fallen Edelgard is going to get it refined. By all accounts, she should also be in the jail, but it's freaking Edelgard, so who knows what the devs are going to do. The only other unit who would want this weapon is Knagus, who is the oldest armored beast. Besides these two, the others are super recent, and for Mortis, we'll get a refine and remix eventually. To stand up for himself, Dedue has For the True King, a unique C skill, and boy is it unique. First, this is a fire save skill for allies within 2 spaces. If a foe initiates against Dedue's target ally though, within 4 spaces, he would trigger Savior on them. The target ally will be Dedue's support partner or the highest attack unit on your team. Additionally, Dedue can warp within 2 spaces of his target ally from anywhere. For combat, if transformed or the foe initiates, Dedue gets +5 attack, defense and res, 7 true damage and flat damage reduction, another -1 instant cooldown before attacking, and last, he has the twin save effect. Dedue will trigger Sturdy Beasts 40% DR 2 times in combat. For the True King is absolutely unhinged. Dedue is the first unit to get a 4 range savior effect, and it works for melee and ranged threats. Boy, I wonder why they released Mythic Elm just now. Crazy stuff. And then just to top it off, Dedue can warp anywhere near his target ally. You can do some fun things with this guy, and you gotta pay attention to who Dedue's target ally is. You may not have many Arcane Crests users, but Dedue has some new passives to inherit. Assault Fighter is a B skill for all armored units. This is the tier 4 Bold Fighter skill. If initiating or within 3 spaces of an ally, inflict -4 attack and defense and get true damage and flat damage reduction equal to 20% defense. The unit will get a free follow-up attack and has 50% DR piercing. Bold Fighter 4 has lost its cooldown part, but it's got the same true damage and flat DR effects as Wily or Slug Fighter. It can work on both phases, and armors do not normally get any DR piercing skills. The limited 5-star armors do get piercing, but for regular guys, this will be the main way to get it. This is not just an initiation only skill like it's tier 3, but Assault Rush from Valentine's Edelgard does give a lot of mobility if you wanted a pure player phase build. Emma Celica also works, maybe you're just tired of using savior skills only. Dedue's other skill is Attack and Defense Fortune. Fortune skills give Beast easier transformation conditions and allows them to transform immediately in 8th raids. This will allow Dedue to get distant counter. For other effects, the unit can get +8 attack and defense, low attack and defense, and he heals 7 HP after combat. Fortune's just a solid skill, and there are a good bit of attack and defense focused beast units that could run it. It builds out of attack and defense form 3, so it's very easy to inherit. Rearmed Dedue is kinda crazy. 4 range savior and if you match attack stats, you could theoretically have him save multiple units. Dedue also gets to warp around his target ally, and with all his cooldown perks, he triggers Sturdy Beast immediately. This one can have 50% DR piercing from Assault Fighter, and you got 3 true damage sources. For defense, Dedue's got twin save from Sturdy Beast and 3 flat DR sources to stack on top. Don't forget, Dedue also has regular fire save built in as well. For other skills, Dedue's got debuff neutralization and Fortune has low attack and defense. That means you kinda don't need Wily or Slick Fighter as good as they are. Shield Fighter is an option, but then Dedue's instant cooldown gets a little wasted. There is a funny option with Bestial Assault, true damage and 50% piercing with Kanto if transformed. Imagine the army unit warping in, then Kantoing away. Just absurd, and dare I say, maybe we get extra cooldown to proc Gale Force. Dedue will lose a lot of bulk with this, so I wouldn't recommend actually doing it. It's a funny thought though, since we were talking about Fallen Edelgard. Besides the usual stat boosters, Dedue can use Hardy Bearing to counter Desperation. You could use Deflect Seals for brave hits, though it may get pierced. Mystic Boost can offer healing and disable adaptive damage. You could run a Fighter Seal of any kind depending on what else you need. There isn't really a great attune skill for Dedue since he has distant counter innately. Overall, a very cool unit idea and a bit crazy with force-based savior and cross-map warping. Dedue will want a solid support partner, or you could try to match attack stats. That could actually be a very effective tactic for him. That will be it for this year's Fallen banner. Very solid group of units like usual, and there are a lot of good skills to fodder. Dedue's Arcane Crest is super limited in use, but you can always use him to dupe other skills. As for the Alears, Foe Spirit is going to be something. No C Disrupt support was previously on 1 unit and generally for 1 ally. The Alears just give it to everyone, and also they get the 20% DR effect. With Anniversary Mart's Fire Emblem status, there are some very crazy setups you could make. If you don't plan to summon, we have an interesting Heroic Rail unit. For the first time in 8 years, Fire Emblem Heroes, the game, is getting a Grand Hero Battle unit. Fafnir from Book 5 is finally getting out of the basement. I guess he was being manipulated at that point, so good enough to join the Fallen units. We'll talk about Fafnir soon. Good luck on your summons, and I will see you in the next video.